Hello and welcome to another episode of Hot Culture. This episode is for Monday, September 30th, 2013. I'm Monique Jones and I run mljcollegeblog.net, a site that focuses on race and culture in television, and with me are my co-hosts and sisters, Ashley and Jasmine. And today we are going to be talking about a film that I'm sure will have people divided for months until this film comes out.
After the film comes out.
Or after as well. And it's called I'm Proud of You, which is a film about Mr. Rogers.
No!
And so let's just dive right into it. So Cinema Blend has the story about what's going to be happening with this film. The directors of Little Miss Sunshine, Jonathan Dayton and Valerie Faris, waited 6 years in between directing the Oscar-winning Little Miss Sunshine in 2006 and Ruby Sparks in 2012, but it doesn't appear as though the duo will be waiting that long to make their third feature together. And The Wrap reports that Dayton and Faris have settled on their next project, which is said to be an adaptation of the memoir I'm Proud of You, written by author Tim Madigan. The book was published last year. I'm still reading the post from Cinema Blend. The book is published last year, and according to the publisher's description on Amazon, tells the story of how Madigan, who worked as a journalist in Texas, started a deep and long-lasting friendship with none other than Fred Rogers, aka Mr. Rogers. The two first met when the writer was doing an assignment for a newspaper back in 1995 and became fast friends, the television icon ultimately helping Madigan through a time of deep depression and a rough relationship with his father. The two remained close until Rogers' death in 2003. Sorry.
Oh, I was about to say, it's like,
2003. I'm sorry.
Wow, it's been 10 years.
Yeah. Sad. Noah Harpster and Micah Fitzgerald Blue, who wrote the upcoming thriller The Motel Life starring Dakota Fanning and Emile Hirsch, are handling the adaptation script, while Peter Seraph and Mark Turtletop's Big Beach Films are serving as producers, having previously worked on Little Miss Sunshine. Most audiences, of course, know Rogers from his long-running children's series Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, which began in 1963 and ultimately made, what a year for it to start.
Yeah. I didn't know it started in 1963. That's amazing.
That's a monumental year.
It was. Why are we celebrating that, too?
I don't know.
I think it should be on the same level as the Civil Rights Movement.
I think so.
Yeah. Anyway, it began in 1963 and ultimately made more than 1,000 episodes over 31 seasons. The man spent decades working to teach young people about the importance of manners, politeness, and what it means to be a good human being. And who could ever forget that amazing theme song? And they have the YouTube video of the theme song. Of course, one of the biggest challenges of this film will be finding the right actor to play the television legend. Given that the story begins when Rogers was 67, they will obviously have to find an older performer to take the part. But who out there could possibly match the kind and positive energy that Rogers produced? As Madigan's book explains, the man was a unique personality and the world has seen few like him. It's possible that the list of 60 to 70-year-old experienced actors in Hollywood could even end up being too short for Dayton and Faris, making them look to an unknown actor to take the part. It still may be a while before we actually hear any casting news, as it sounds like this project is still in its earliest stages, but it's certainly something to ponder over. And so they ask, who do you think should play Mr. Rogers in I'm Proud of You?
It has to be someone we don't know.
Yeah.
We can't get, freaking Bill Murray to play him. That would be weird. We gotta get an unknown dude.
But I actually think, at first, I actually think that I would like this movie, because when I first heard there's going to be a Mr. Rogers biopic, which is not what this is, actually. misinformation given by Monique.
But that's how they said it.
Well, but it's not. It's just like a non-fiction movie about this other guy's life and how Mr. Rogers affected it. Not how Mr. Rogers was born and grew up and became Mr. Rogers. That's totally different and something I don't want to see, except maybe in a documentary.
But maybe not even then. Because I want to keep Mr. Rogers as Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, Mr. Rogers was a great human being and liked everyone. And that's a reason why I would want him to his show anniversary to be celebrated, just like all the other very important things that happened in 1963. Now, if it's true that Mr. Rogers was not what I think he is, then maybe that shouldn't be the case. But I think his show did a lot to be a great equalizer in a world of inequality. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was one of the most important shows in my life from the age of 3 until the age of now. Like,
I still watch it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. For the past 20 years, I've been loving Mr. Rogers. Some of the first things I learned were from Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
How to make a graham cracker peanut butter sandwich. I think
and how crayons are made.
How crayons are made. How to avoid creepy men like Mr. McFeely. I'm sorry, but Mr. McFeely frees me out. Anyway, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood is a great show. And Mr. Rogers seemed to be a great man outside of the show as well, with all the work he did across the globe, fighting for human rights and peace and stuff.
Doesn't he have a foundation?
Yeah, he has a foundation, and he won all these medals and stuff, and he traveled everywhere.
Does he not have a Nobel?
The Dalai Lama, too.
Oh, he should have been.
Yeah, I think he was.
Does he not have a Nobel Prize?
I don't think he has a Nobel Prize.
Oh, he should have.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised he doesn't have one, actually, but maybe he didn't do enough. I don't know what the qualifications are for Nobel Prizes.
But he instilled peace in, like, how many generations?
31 seasons. So if a generation is 10 years, then at least 3.
3 generations. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But I bet I know what Hollywood is going to do. I bet they're going to be like, well, we certainly don't have the resources or the time to find an unknown. So here's what we're going to do.
George Clooney in makeup.
Or I was thinking Jim Carrey. You know Hollywood is gonna do something dumb like that.
But these directors do different things. Let them do different things, and don't cast Steve Carell. Gosh darn it!
Yeah,
because you know they would. They would. They'd be like, oh, we're gonna have Steve Carell do something so different. Different meaning the same thing he's been doing awkward characters that aren't really funny. Because is he even really a comedian?
He's a comedian.
Is he though? Like, has he done stand-up?
Well, I'll say he's a comedy actor.
Exactly, because I don't think he did stand-up, and if he did, please correct me. But I can't even understand how that would be funny, a stand-up Steve Carell. He's only funny in movies, I feel.
But they'll have it in Steve Carell in his bravest role yet.
As Fred Rogers. And they'll like creepy up the song.
I feel like that would be almost like, in W. The lady who played Condoleezza.
Tandy Newton.
Yeah, didn't that see? Like, I feel like if Steve Carell did that, it would be exactly how he did Condoleezza.
A horrible character.
It was so perfect that it should have been a joke.
Right.
It was almost caricature.
That whole movie was like a weird Saturday Night Live
skit.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. It felt like there should be like an audience laughing. At this point. I feel like if they get Steve Carell to do it, then I'll be thinking the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Or like, I guess with Steve Carell, I think it's like a Jimmy Fallon skit or something.
But, which means they have to laugh through the whole skit.
Right.
But I feel uncomfortable about a movie featuring Mr. Rogers
as a real person.
Yeah, as a real person. Like I don't want to go there. I don't want to do that.
I guess it would be like on the same lines of the documentary behind Barney the dinosaur.
I was just thinking Barney Unleashed or something. And it's like shot in black and white.
Barney Unchained.
And you see Barney like smoking a cigarette, taking off his head. Yep. That's exactly what it would be like, actually. That's why I'm glad that it's not a full biopic. Like, I was born in such and such town, I was just Fred.
Of course, if they even made a full-fledged biopic, they're not going to do it like Ray. Like, there's not going to be a person on Earth that's going to be like, I've got to tell a real story of Fred Rogers.
Right, he was a heroin addict. No, that's not going to help anyone. And it's not true.
No. But, like, anybody who's going to make a biopic of Fred Rogers is going to be like, I've got to keep him on the pedestal of Mr. Rogers. It's going to be a very glowing film. Like 42.
Yeah.
We didn't get much background in Jackie Robinson's life.
No.
He's a baseball player, and he's doing good for the civil rights movement of the 40s. So, I mean, at the very least, if they were making a real biopic, that's all we would have to look forward to. And I think I could handle that. Or someone could take a newsroom perspective and be like, let's show how the series was made and all the pitfalls of making Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and funding problems and stuff.
I don't want to see behind the scenes, though, because then you'll see that it's just a stage and not a house.
Yeah.
And you'll see the actors holding the puppets in make-believe.
Well, I mean, they showed behind the scenes of, like, Sesame Street.
I don't like watching that either.
They do?
I think they did.
Well...
I know that Elmo
no. I remember now. It was like a magazine thing. And it was like wasn't like People or something. It was like some magazine. And they showed, it was like Kermit the Frog on the front, and then they showed the guy who played him. And it was like Kermit behind the puppet, or like behind the hand, or something, And so then they actually showed the dude who played Kermit, and they interviewed him and everything. Yeah, it was really weird.
Yeah.
Because, the guy who plays Kermit doesn't look like he should be playing Kermit. He looks like he should be working at Starbucks or something.
Is this recent?
I remember it was like back in high school that I saw this, which was only a couple years ago. So.
Oh. Well, I mean, the only thing I've seen behind the scenes of is a picture of a taping an episode of The Puzzle Place, and you see the puppeteers doing
weird.
The puppeting, or if that's not a verb, but performing.
Yeah, doing puppeting.
Okay, well, it is a verb.
And then there's a picture of Jim Henson and like 12 other people doing Bert and Ernie.
Right.
There's be like a person for each finger or something.
Because they have to articulate.
Yeah. It's just.
But I didn't know it was like 1,000 people doing the hand. I thought like the hands. Like, the puppeteer's hands were inside.
Well, the picture I saw of 70s Jim Henson, he had his hands inside of Bert and Ernie. And then there were four other guys, like one for each hand. Either that or one for both hands. But still, there were lots of guys there, all puppeting. It takes more than one person to puppet.
Oh. But the one thing I found interesting... I know it's like a total tangent, but the one thing I found interesting about the Puzzle Place picture is that they really get into the puppet, like the mindset of the character, and like you can see that they have the same expressions on their faces as the puppet, and it's like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, but I mean, I hope they do this movie right, and I hope they don't sensationalize Mr. Rogers, because that's just not something that needs to be sensationalized.
No.
Like, if they did a biopic on Sherry Lewis, I would not watch it.
No.
I would not watch it. Because I already know she probably has
wait, is that Lamb Chop Lady?
Yeah, that's Lamb Chop.
Okay.
She also started in the 60s, too.
Yeah. But, like, I just don't need to know about her life that much. Like, it was enough for me to know that she had cancer while I was watching her seasons.
And then when she died, it
still hurts me.
Yeah, like
all the puppets, they had like a sad picture of the puppets or something.
Yeah, they did.
I couldn't even like go to sleep for weeks after that. I couldn't go to sleep well. Like I guess that was like the first big, aside from Mufasa, that was the first big death that I had experienced as a kid. I guess the second one, really. And so I was just like, oh, she's dead. And like we had the lamb chop.
Yeah, we had the puppet. We had our own lamb chop puppet.
And so I was like, there is lamb chop hovering over me, and Jerry Lewis is dead, and I was just having a bit of a meltdown as a child.
Mom told me as I was playing with the puppet, and I literally couldn't touch it for like months afterwards. I was just like, yay, lamb chop! And then like she goes, oh, you know the lady behind lamb chop, she died. And I was just like, what?
Wow. Why would she tell you like that?
I don't know.
Parents, I tell you. Anyway, I do hope they do this movie well. I can't say that I'll go see it. Not just because I love Mr. Rogers, but because I usually just don't go see movies anyway. Like I'm totally fine existing without having seen this movie.
I can't. Sorry.
You know what I think it might be? You know that, remember that what was it? Like Julie and Julia.
That's exactly what I was just about to say. You can say what you're gonna say. But I have something to say.
Well, I was just gonna say, I hope it doesn't turn out like, didn't they say that was bad or something?
Yeah. Okay. This is what I was about to say. Like, I was just about to say that this shouldn't be. I hope this doesn't turn out to be a Julie and Julia situation, because the whole problem with Julie and Julia is that they're both real people, but yeah, Julie's story gets in the way of Julia Child's awesome story, and Meryl Streep's
amazingly by Meryl Streep.
Yeah, Meryl Streep's awesome acting has to get interrupted with Amy Adams being this woman who is, I'm gonna cook from Julia Child's cookbook for a year because my job sucks. And it's like, that is what we're interrupting Julia Child's biopic with. And I know this is someone's real life. I apologize, but
oh no.
Still, it shouldn't have been, like, it just wasn't handled well, I don't think.
And we're supposed to feel so much sympathy for Julie, and like their lives are intertwined. They're so much alike. And
but really, all we care about is Julia Child and her struggles against the oppressive male regime of cooking.
Right. And I think they even allude to her being a spy, or whatever she was, for the government, which that should be its own movie right there. But yeah, like, that's what I'm afraid of. Like, I don't particularly care for movies that are like, this is a biopic, but through the eyes of another person. Like, I mean, I kind of like My Week with Marilyn, just because we get to be...
I hate that movie.
I mean, it still follows the whole thing about we're seeing this person through the eyes of another person, but at least we get to see more of Marilyn Monroe throughout the film, unlike Julie and Julia, where the two stories are separated by time, by everything imaginable. And even still, though, the movie, I think it would be just more interesting to have a movie with the person that the biopic is supposed to be about than, here's my story, and I'm going to talk about this other person too, who you really want to see, but you have to listen to my story first. So, I don't know how that's going to do. I don't know. But like I said, these are people's real lives, so I'm not trying to dismiss their real life, but I'm just saying in terms of the characters, since they become characters in the movie, the main story we want to see are the people that they're talking about. So I don't know how this is going to play. So, I don't know. I think we'll just have to see how this goes. Because, like I said, the movie hasn't even... It's not even out of pre-production, really. So, I don't even know. It might not even get made. I don't even know. Any last thoughts about this?
No.
Jasmine?
I hope that if this does become a movie, I hope that whoever they get to do Mr. Rogers correctly, that they will do the theme song at the end of the movie.
You mean the closing song? Or the It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood?
Yeah, the ending song of Mr. Rogers.
It's such a good feeling. To know you're alive, it's such a happy feeling. You're growing inside, and when you wake up, ready to say, I think I'll make a snappy, was it new day?
Yeah.
New day.
Ding, ding.
It's such a good feeling, a very good feeling, a feeling you know that I'll be back when the day is new. And I'll have more ideas for you. And you'll have things you want to talk about. I will too. Thank you.
Great talk.
And I guess on that note, we should just close.
Yeah, I guess so. So, with that, we are done with this. You can find me at moniqueblog.net. You can find my social media links on this show's Spreaker show page. You can find the SoundCloud link in the description below, as well as the link to the story I read from Cinema Blend. And I think that's about it for me. You can find Jasmine's work, her recaps of anime shows, on my website, also under the Jasmine's Nook tab. If you're fans of Free and Brothers Conflict and Uta No Prince 2000% Love.
It is a long title.
And other shows, then you can find her recaps about that, as well as her upcoming editorials about what she feels about those shows. You can also find her on Tumblr at, was it Systematic Art?
Yeah.
And that's spelled how?
CISYSTEMATIC. Art.
And you can also find her on DeviantArt under
Harry is Amazing.
Great. And I think that's about it. So we will talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.